KWT slaying.
Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. Happy Juneteenth for those who celebrate Juneteenth, and happy Father's Day for the fathers out there who celebrate Father's Day. I'm not getting into the legalistic stuff of, this whole Mother Father Day stuff. I'm all for it. You want to celebrate the day that you became a father, and you want to celebrate the day you became a mother, more power to you. I'm celebrating. I got my green tea right here drinking it. So I want to talk about Juneteenth and prophecy. Why is it important? Because what I've noticed is that as truth has been coming forth, no one can deny the truth. To be honest, we have been vindicated. To be honest, everyone is admitting who we are. Ashkenaz admitting who we are. Urban apologists admitting who we are, but they got to add twist to it, right? You're not the only ones. That, it's always something. Understand you've been vindicated. We were told there were no Jews in West Africa. Now everybody's admitting there were Jews in West Africa. Now we're being told that not everybody on the ship were Jews. Also, we're being told that some of the other nations are Jews. A lot of people like to play with history. They like to play with the word. They like to manipulate things because most people are not either educated or they haven't taken the time to do the research themselves. So understand this. What happens is when you can no longer deny the truth, when you can no longer throw out ad hominem attacks and everybody just believe you, when you can no longer gaslight, what happens is, like what happens in DNA, admixture. Well, let's add everybody else to the pool of Israelites. Let's add everybody to the pool of Israelites. Let's add the Native American Indians, and let's add the Mexicans, and let's add the Ashkenaz, and let's add everybody who claims Israel. Oh, there were Jews of other nations way back then. Yeah, we know that. Jews don't mean Judean. Jews don't mean they're from the same family. Many people converted, as we know. Who's the converted people? It is not us. Everybody admitting we the original now. So who's the converted people? I'm the type of person, I don't easily want to give away my heritage. And see, because some people have big ministries, their statements are going to be given more value. But there's a lot of things we're going to talk about today, family. And I'm going to share the link later if you want to jump on. But understand that what I see, at least, is that now they can't deny it. That's all. Look, I knew it. I say, Just sit there long enough. They're all going to admit it because you cannot deny the evidence. So, yes, Israelites went into captivity worldwide. Israelites had a yoke of chains, a chain around their necks, right? Israelites were persecuted, enslaved for 400 years in America. But you know, most people want to hear what they want to hear. They never want to get into the details. I noticed that as well. No 400-year prophecy, but now it's like, oh, maybe there is something about that. Well, I still don't believe it. Some people ain't gonna believe nothing, though it hit them in the face. And they're about to get hit in the face real soon with these prophecies coming to pass. But let's listen to this for a little bit. This is from Crenshaw Christian Center, Casey Price Jr. Now, he admits that we Israel, but he wants to give away our heritage to everyone else. He talks about some of the people being over there and some of these, you know, in Germany and some of the people over there in by the Black Sea. We covered all of that, right? I mean, he's late to the game. He's late to the game. Pastor K.C. Price Jr., you're late to the game, bro. As obvious by some of the material that Israelites have brought forth first. But let's listen for a little bit.
32 in that same chapter.
Can y'all hear that? Let me see.
It reads, your sons and your daughters shall be given
if
to
y'all can hear that,
people,
please give me one.
and your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no strength in your hand. A nation whom you have not known shall eat the fruit of your land and the produce of your labor, and you shall only be oppressed and crushed continually. Any of that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound reminiscent of something? Stay in the same chapter. Look at verse 36 and 37. The Lord will bring you and the king whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there you shall serve other gods, wood and stone. And you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations where the Lord will drive you. He says you'll become an astonishment, which translates into you will become a desolation, a horror, a waste, an appallment. This word proverb means that you will become a parable that those can learn what not to do. When they hear when they hear the parable of you or the proverb of you, they'll know what not to do.
Now, didn't we say that? Did not Tell Ministries teach that we're going to have a testimony to the nations about what not to do and how God judged us? I'm just saying he's a bit late to the game. I ain't beating up on him, brother, but I have a problem when he wants to give away our heritage. But let me continue.
He says you'll become a byword. You become bitter in the mouth of those who speak of you. They'll taunt you. Stay in that same chapter. Go to verse 47. He says, because you did not serve the Lord your God with joy and gladness of heart for the abundance of everything, therefore you shall serve your enemies, whom the Lord will send against you in hunger and thirst and nakedness and in need of everything, and he will put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you. The Lord will bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose language you will not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which does not respect the elderly, nor show favor to the young. And they shall eat the increase of your livestock and the produce of your land until you are destroyed. They shall not leave you grain or new wine or oil or the increase of your cattle or the offspring of your flocks until they have destroyed you. Some have tried to say, see, these are verses that speak about America. Well, let's slow down. America is a new nation compared to the old nations. And then the eagle, yes, our nation is symbolized by the eagle, but there were numerous other nations symbolized by the eagle, such as Rome. So
let's pause there for a second. So America is represented by an eagle, right? Other places have put yokes of iron on people's neck. So we don't know for sure if it's America right there. We don't know for sure if it's America, but if we go by the types that the Bible gives us, if we go by what we see in Daniel about those nations, those statues, right? The head of gold, the breastplate, the breast of, and arms of brass. If we go by those things, we know that all of those nations did what? Enslaved Israel. And they were what? World powers. America is what? A world power. And America did what? Enslaved God's people. But let's continue. Let's hear his understanding of it, because like I say, he's late to the game. A lot of the questions that he should be asking, he's not asking.
So I don't necessarily believe that what God is saying here is overtly speaking about the United States of America. And then the whole yoke of iron thing, because
but he don't believe it's speaking about United States of America. But why? You make that comment, but you don't tell us why. Okay. Did America have God's people in the captivity? Yes. Was America, or is America, a world superpower at the same time that it held God's people captive? Yes. Did America put yokes of iron on God? I'm just asking. Did we get here on ships? Maybe it's just me, but let me continue.
Some of the Hebrew Israelites, they'll show you pictures of the yoke of iron, the yoke that was around the neck of West African slaves. But yokes of iron didn't show up during transatlantic slavery. Yokes of iron have been around a long time. All kinds of white people were enslaved with yokes of iron.
Let's stop right there. White people were enslaved at one time. White people had yokes of iron. Now you see what he's doing, right? He's setting you up already, right? He's setting you up to say what? The Ashkenaz are original people. The Chinese are original Israelites. See, he's already setting you up. See, that's why I'm saying, in order to be a truth ministry, right, you got to come against lies, and it's not going to be very popular, right? It's not going to be very popular when you go up against people who got a bigger platform, all these things, right? I'm like, let me continue.
Because see, in the old world, it wasn't about skin color, it was about nation. You're not Roman, you're beneath me. I don't care if you're the same complexion as me. You're not Rome. I'm going to enslave you. And that's why Rome enslaved Greeks. Rome enslaved the Germanic, Scandinavian, Nordic people. Rome enslaved the people.
Can I pause again? Is slavery the only criteria for identifying Israel, family? Yes or no? Is slavery the only criteria? I see a whole bunch of curses on Deuteronomy 28 other than slavery. I'm just saying. I want to see somebody who lost their kids, had their kids taken away from them and sold. I want to see those things. I want to see those other people who went on ships. I'm just saying. See, I have a problem, and people do this all the time. They give you some truth. Well, Rome had enslaved a lot of people, and if just because you're was enslaved don't mean you're Israel. But let's continue.
Of ancient Londinium, which would give us London, and you're not my nation. I enslave you. Assyrians enslaved the Babylonians. The Babylonians enslaved the Assyrians, the Persians. You're not Persian. You're beneath me. That's how it was then. It wasn't about skin color necessarily, because there were blacks who served in the Roman army.
So there were blacks that served in the Roman army. What does that have to do with being Israel? I'm just asking.
Once they, clearly, in most cases, they weren't born in Rome. They might have been placed in the Colosseum for gladiatorial sports. Possibly they could have won their freedom, and they could have remained a citizen of Rome, and they could join the army. They could join Rome's military, and they were considered what? They were considered, as a black man, they were considered more Roman than a white Greek, a white-skinned Greek. They enslaved nations then. Transatlantic slavery was a little more particular. It's got similarities of old world slavery, of ancient slavery, but then it's got some unique things about it that it was a particular ordeal. Stay in Deuteronomy 28. Look at verse 64. It reads, "Then the Lord will scatter you among all peoples, from one end of the earth to the other, and there you shall serve other gods," which is what they did. which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone, and among those nations you shall find no rest, nor shall the sole of your foot have a resting place. But there the Lord will give you a trembling heart, failing eyes, and anguish of soul. These are the things that they would bring on themselves. Your life shall hang in doubt before you. You shall fear day and night. You'll have no assurance of life. In the morning you shall say, oh, that it were evening. And at the evening you shall say, oh, that it were morning. Because of the fear which terrifies your heart and because of the sight which your eyes see. Now, every verse thus far easily speaks of any neighboring nation that carried Israel or Judah into slavery, into captivity. But the 68th verse, now this is a tough one. And it reads, and the Lord will take you back to Egypt in ships, by the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again, and there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female servants, but no one will buy you. Let me translate this verse for you. And the Lord will take you back to bondage in ships, by the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again, and there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will redeem you. Now he said Egypt. Did Israelites ever make their way back to Egypt? Sure, but not necessarily by way of slavery. Plus, you don't need a ship to get to Egypt. Now, you could go down the Phoenician coastline and you'd get to Egypt much faster, but you don't need ships to be.
I'm going to pause it right there and I'm going to move forward. But I want to comment that nobody's going to do hit pieces on him. I guarantee you're not going to see Berean TV and Urban Apologists doing a hit piece on him because he's such a big ministry, such influence, and he's a Christian. But he's a Christian who identifies as an Israelite, apparently, right? But he tries to balance it that say, well, you know, some of those light-skinned people are Israel as well. Look, I don't have a problem if it was true, but here's the thing. If I take my DNA test and they take their DNA test, we're not going to match. If I take a DNA test and compare it to all the descendants of slaves who were brought over here, we're going to match. I'm just saying, how can you say we're the same people? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be racial. I'm not trying to do a separation. But here's the thing. When the Messiah came, they said, well, he can't be the Messiah because he's supposed to do X, Y, and Z. He can't be the Messiah because he's supposed to deliver us from Rome. And then when the Messiah died on the cross, they say, well, see, I told you, right? They didn't know he was supposed to resurrect. I'm telling you, look, there's a similar story and nobody wants to talk about it, right? There's a similar story. Correct. Exactly, Brother ASF. Exactly. But there's a similar story. Look, and some people don't see the comparison, and not to compare us so much to the Messiah, but there's a story. Like, for instance, nobody recognized the Messiah when he came. That's why John the Baptist said, are you the one, or do we look for another? Now, look at the type and shadow. Look, y'all don't have to agree with it, but look at the type and shadow of the Israelites who went in captivity, who lost their identity and heritage. Now, he goes on to say that they never lost their identity. He goes on to say that the Bible never teaches that, but it does. He says that because they recognize or remember, Kumbaya or Kwan, arise by Father Yah, that see they knew who they were. Yes, some individuals retained their identity. That's all throughout history. But the world and many Israelites forgot who they were as a nation. This is fact. This is Bible, and it's there. Now, understand that Yeshua, who's the first to be resurrected from the dead, was an Israelite. Israelites died as a nation, Ezekiel 37, dry bones. The Bible says that Israel is going to be resurrected again as a nation. The Bible says that Yeshua was a light to the Gentiles. The Bible also says that Israel will be what? A light to the Gentiles. Come on. But let's continue. I'm going to move this forward to 205. See, when you try to make us the ones who were persecuted, enslaved, tormented, discriminated against, imprisoned, cast down, when you try to make us the same as everyone else, you neglect our suffering. You neglect the suffering of our ancestors. You take our heritage and you give it away. This is why I have a problem with people who say Native American Indians are us, Mexicans are us, all this stuff. And I ain't saying they ain't suffer. Everybody got a suffering story. And people want to call me a racist because I say your DNA don't match with mine. They call me a racist because I said, no, my family look like me. My family has a similar story as me. Come on. I'm just saying. But let's continue. I moved this up to 2 hours 5.
And she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Madon, who would give us the Medinim. They were involved in Joseph's selling. Midian, who would give us the Midianites. They too were involved in Joseph's selling, as were the Ishmaelites, all Hebrew in origin. Ishbak and Shua. So these are the children of Abraham and Keturah. Well, if Abram is Hebrew, then what are his kids? They're Hebrew. And they're whatever their mama is. Look at the next verse. Verse 3. Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Asherim, Letushim, and Lumim, and the sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanak, Abidah, and Eldaah. These are all the children of Abraham and Keturah. Now look in that 4th verse and you'll see Epher. Epher is the second son named. Epher is the one who would wage war with Heracles, a son of Japheth, against Put. Now, I'm sure we've all had questions like, where's Africa in the Bible? Well, I've already shared with you where North Africa is, but what about the rest? Sister, do me a favor. That EPHER that you wrote down, would you add an ICA behind it? And then would you read to me what you see and how it sounds? Africa. Oh, that's interesting.
It is interesting because Teal Ministries didn't taught on that about a month ago about Ephrata, Africa. I'm just saying, somebody listening. But let's continue. Maybe he should listen to the rest of the videos as well. I'm not trying to beat up on him, brother. I'm glad he's waking up. I really am. I just have a problem when people try to give away our heritage and try to reduce the sufferings of our people. That's my problem. I'm sorry.
And John Gill said Epher was the father of Africa. Africa. All nations south of the sons of Put, Cush, and Mizraim. We all knew that the rest of the world was populated somehow. Now, the Bible doesn't give us all of that because it doesn't have to. Because the Bible's not a history book. The Bible is God's plan of redemption for man. But it just so happens to cover a little bit of history.
It's not a history book, but it covers a little bit of history. Okay?
Let's keep going, if you're all up for it. I think we just reached the halfway mark. We might get through the rest a bit faster. Okay. Now, I believe with all that I have shared with you, all that I taught during race division and racism, that without a doubt, the Negro in this country is Hebrew. But is the Negro in this country Israelite? That's question number 2.
There we go with the okie doke. The Negro is Hebrew, but the Negro not an Israelite, not necessarily an Israelite. Let's continue.
Well, at a certain point, I believed Definitely some. Because if West African Jews were already there before the slavers came, it would seem like they would have taken a mix. But what if, since we do know that there were blacks who sold blacks to whites, what if the native Nigerian said, well, we was cool with them, but they ain't really us. Yeah, our skin color is close, but they are not native of this land. They migrated. And what if, family, just what if West Africans sold West African Jews to British slave owners? Follow me here. I got two things for you that are irrefutable, for sure. One of them has to do with a song called Kumbaya, which translates into what? No, it don't. That's
Sound like Israelite talking points. Kwam Yasharala. But let's go on.
what they told us. And by the way, when I say they, you need to understand, because of all the study that I've done, most people, when they say they, they're just referring to white people. I'm not referring to white people when I say they. I'm referring to oppressors. All white people are not oppressors. And if you know history, you know white people experienced slavery. Do you know what I learned? You want to know something that I learned? Now it involves the N-word. So let me know now if I should just say N-word or if I should actually say the word. Elder Bowden said, say it. Cheryl said, say it. I don't want to offend anyone. Y'all got tough skin today? Okay. This is something that I learned. So know that when I say they, I'm not talking. See, I'm not one to, I don't hate white people because they're white. That's not me. I have white friends. One of my white friends, he sent me a picture of his 23andMe, and he's 0.2% West African. He said, I told you I'm black. He said 0.2% is a percentage. I said, welcome to the family, my brother. Guess what I learned? I learned that they, the oppressors. Did you know this? Anyone here, you are at least a quarter Native American or more. I don't mean 1/16 Cherokee. I mean, you are at least a good quarter Native American or more. My buddy Misfit is online. He's watching.
I have a question, family. Are you a good quarter Native American? Yes or no? Are you a good quarter Native American? I'm not. I don't have a quarter Native American in me. Unless he's talking about somebody on a continent. Let's see, what are he talking about?
He's Native American. 25% or more of you is Native American. Raise your hands again. Okay. Did you know that they used to call y'all timber niggers? Timber nigger. Because you were the people of the forest and the woods. Now, we know that blacks were called niggers. Not Indians, because they're not Indians, they're indigenous and native people. Timber niggers, the oppressors. Is there anyone here, you are of Arab descent? Good percentage of you is Arab or Persian? Okay, well, you're not in here.
So I'm going to skip on a little ahead,
it.
but I have a problem with that as well. I mean, that's misrepresenting the whole community. How can you say the whole community a quarter of Native American Indian? Really? No. I remember growing up, my dad told us we were Seminole, had some Seminole in us. Not according to the DNA. Then I come to find out that the Seminole Indians really was a uniting of the black Israelite slaves in America and the Cherokees. They formed that to fight the white man. I digress. But let me move on. I'm going to skip all the way to 2 hours, 30 minutes.
It's real good. Go to Zechariah 4. And by the way, who came up with the Gullah language? Not the oppressors. So just like kumbaya, where'd the slaves get it from? Look at this, Zechariah, chapter 4, verse 1. Y'all still good? Okay. Verse 1. Now the angel who talked with me came back and wakened me as a man who was wakened out of his. Gullah is the Hebrew word for bowl, in which you mix. And the Gullah language was a mix. And the Gullah peoples were a mix. And their territories were a mix. And when they linked up with Native Americans, it was a mixed team fighting against oppressors. Coincidence? No. Where did they get these words from? They just pulled them out of the side of their neck. The British said, "You are the Gullah people, and sing kumbaya." No. And I used to think, when I would go back and forth with some of these Hebrew Israelites on this issue, I'd say, well, wait a minute now. You know, I've read Leviticus 26, I've read Deuteronomy 28, and with everything that God said would happen to them if they disobeyed, one thing he never said is that they would forget who they were.
Is that true, family? I got a bunch of scriptures I've already shown that show that as a nation, we will forget who we are. As a nation. I'm going to pause that sharing right quick and come back to it. And I know he don't follow this, but I do. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, then shall the righteous man stand in. Well, this is not the one I wanted. The one I wanted was in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. But I wanted to share this as well. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him and made no account of his labor. See, he was enslaved. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. We all know this. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb and a reproach. We know all that, right? We fools counted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of God, and his lot is among the saints? I want y'all to keep that in mind as we continue watching this thing, because I have a problem when people don't want to do their research, right? And I got a whole bunch of, I'm not going to pull it up now because, you know, if he watched this, he can go do the research himself. Yes, the Bible says, I will cause the remembrance of who? Them to cease among men. Come on now. I mean, do we have to do all the work for people? Let's not misrepresent our position. Now, why am I talking about this today? I'm talking about this because we're dealing with Juneteenth. And it's very important now that everyone is awakening. He's an Israelite, even though he classified himself as a Christian. According to the urban apologists, according to Berean TV and all those people over there, he's an Israelite because he says he's a descendant of Jews from Israel, from West Africa. Cherry would have a problem with him. He cannot go ahead and exclude himself from the Israelites because he says that, oh, those Israelites, who are you talking about? The camps? The Messianics? Why am I talking about this right now? I'm talking about this because when it comes to our identity and recognizing what happened to us during Juneteenth, it's important to make sure that we are honest. It is important to make sure that we are consistent. It is important to make sure that the whole story is being told and not misrepresented.
I thought that maybe my argument to them was, well, how come we don't know that we're Hebrew? Oh, they didn't forget. That's why they sang Kumbaya. They didn't forget. That's why they.
Have we not shown that some of the Israelites came over here as Jews, as Israelites? We know this. We got the whole history. But as a nation, did the world and many of the enslaved remember who they were? Not every single person will forget. Who did everybody think the Jews were? Who did everybody think the Jews were? If everybody thought the people over there in the Middle East were the original Jews, then apparently everybody forgot, right? Come on now. I'm sorry. I have a problem when people misrepresent our history. We have struggled too long.
That's why they called themselves on the seacoast the Gullah people. They didn't forget. It just happened to be truth, just like a whole lot of other truth that was suppressed. It was kept from us. We're nearing home plate. Now, if some of the Hebrew Israelites, some of them are kind, and some of them I have to block. Because it's just nonstop. Here's where I agree with them. Yeah, I believe that we're the descendants of Hebrews.
He agrees. Listen to what he said. We are the descendants of Hebrews. He don't want to admit that we're Israelites. Why? Why? Because he don't want to make us special. He doesn't want to make us chosen. He don't want our suffering to be the epitome of what the Bible says, right? So he says, I admit they're Hebrews. He's not admitting that we're Israelites. He don't want to admit either, if you're listening, that we came from the kingdom of Judah on the west. No, we didn't come from the kingdom of Shem on the west coast of Africa. We didn't come from some other spurious group out there. We came from the kingdom of Judah. Why don't he pull out those texts? He wants to say some were Hebrew and some may have been Jews. Come on now. The only people who deceived by this is the people who are listening to him in his church.
Israelites, to be more specific. I believe that as a Negro, you're Hebrew because Abraham fathered the nations that our ancestors came from in West Africa, but there were Jews there as well, and I believe they were the ones taken. That's why they were singing Kumbaya all the way over. That's why they refer to themselves on the seacoast as a Hebrew word for bowl in which you mix things. So yeah, I believe those are two irrefutable proofs that support, yeah, we're Israelites. And that's probably where our agreement stops. And so if I happen to make any Hebrew Israelite friends, they may disown me now.
Yes, he's disowned. He's disowned. You're going to listen. He's disowned. I am disowning you, my brother, until you get back in line with what the history teaches and what the scripture teaches. Yes, you're temporarily put on a side.
Because of what I'm about to say next. One of the, I believe, evil messages that they spew is that other Jews are not Jews. So they refer to themselves as the true Jews. Well, anytime you refer to yourself as the true something, you're implying something else is false. And so I'll just go ahead and the biggest target they aim at are the Ashkenazi Jews.
Pause. So he got a big problem where he says, well, we say we the original. Look, let's be honest. Come on now. Some people are the original. Some people are converts. We know this from history. We know this from the Bible. I'm just saying, even in the scripture, some people converted to what they call Judaism. Some call it Yahwism. I mean, come on. So if some people converted and they were called Jews according to Josephus, right? We know some were called Jews who were converts. Then it has to be an original people. Come on. I mean, I'm just saying, even according to the historical documents, they say according to the original historical documents pre-1850s, the original Jews were what? Black. I'm just saying, see, to me, if you're going to teach right. If you're going to do the research, do the research. If you're, look, all of the work is done. We've all done the work for him. We did the heavy lifting. There's no reason to make these mistakes, right? How many years late is he? He's what, 7, 8 years late for the awakening? Now he's part of the awakening, but he's late. And understand this, somebody got to be the original. That's just a fact. Who is it?
Right? White-skinned Jews, who, by the way, if you ask Ashkenazis, are they white? They'll be like, no, I'm Jewish. They don't identify as being white.
Oh, it's that money. See, now I get it. See, it's the money now. They don't identify as being white, but when I look at them, they what? When I look at their DNA, they what? Light-skinned. I'm just saying. If we all family, then we all should tie together DNA-wise. We should have a similar story. See, I have people over there on the Yap group as well. They call me racist because I say Israel is black and only black. That Israel is a Negro. Now, is there 1 or 2 Negroes who may exist who don't look like us? Yeah, some of them might look white, but there's very few in between. I'm just saying, we then went down this road already, and now he wants to give away our heritage. See, that's the problem I got. Y'all know how I am. I mean, I'm not giving away my heritage. I mean, I just find out who I am. Y'all just find out who y'all are. I'm not the one.
Now, Semitism promoted aside, rejecting the Messiah aside, I'm not focused on those issues. I'm not going to sit here and act like they're perfect, but I will explain why in this nation, when we think Jew, they're the first group that comes up. They were immigrants, German and Polish. They came over. They came over around the time when the Irish came over. It's believed that they're not Jews, and some even have the audacity to say that they are the synagogue of Satan that Jesus speaks of in Revelation.
Somebody going around saying they're Jews and or not. I'm just saying. Somebody, it's either us or them. I'm just asking, who is it? I mean, come on. Look, see, here's the thing. If he tells the truth, tomorrow he will be picketed. If he tells the truth that the Negroes, the only original Jews and Israelites, he will shut down his church tomorrow. He will no longer get any loans. He won't get invited to speak at other churches. He will lose millions. And don't think we don't know. Look, you ain't gotta hate to say that the original Jews are black. I mean, what's his name? Rabbi Shapiro admits that. He's an Ashkenazi Jew. Rabbi Shapiro, he cool with it. He admitted. But if Pastor K.C. Price Jr. admits it, he knows there's a price to pay.
That's not true. There is a theory known as the Khazar theory that attempts to say that they are not actually the seed of Abraham. They're just converts. That's been debunked over and over again. I'm going to share with you.
That's been debunked over and over again. Please give me the literature, the historical documents, the DNA studies that shows that's debunked. I'll wait for your reply, Pastor. See, I have a problem with people who love money more than they love God. I have a problem with people who love their prestige and influence more than they love the Most High. And if you love the Most High, you have to tell the truth, whether in season or out of season. There is a high responsibility on him, especially since he has a big ministry, to tell the truth. If he's mistaken, then he needs to come back and apologize and correct himself. As I stated, we've done the homework already. Everything he's saying has been proven wrong. Nobody wants to speak it. You know why? Because it costs. It costs to tell the truth. When the Messiah came and said he's the Messiah, and he says he's the Son of God, they call him all kind of names. When the Messiah came teaching faith, they called him all kind of names. It's going to cost you to teach the truth. It's going to cost to preach the truth. Every time we get somebody who we think might be an ally, they half-truth it. Why? Because they cannot fight the evidence. We have thousands and thousands of documentation proving who we are. They can no longer deny who we are. Nobody, none of them. They can do gaslighting. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Or as they do over on Berean TV, they say stuff like, about the 400 years. I happen to see some of that. They talk about the 400 years. I don't believe that, but the economy crashed. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening. We're going to talk about that. I just wanted to get into this because understand we're talking about Juneteenth today. And it just so happens to be a Father's Day. And I'm a father. I'm also an Israelite. And I'm going to celebrate the fact that we supposedly were free. Now, we know we're still in the captivity. But the reason why I say supposedly and celebrate it is because it notes that prophecy of Deuteronomy chapter 28. See, every time Juneteenth come around, we could talk about Deuteronomy 28. See, every time Juneteenth come around, ain't nobody else fit that but us. Every time Juneteenth come around, we could say, look at Deuteronomy 28, that only fits the Negro, every single scripture, every single prophecy, every single curse. See, he says that Deuteronomy 28 was conditional. Yes, it was conditional. He said though it wasn't a prophecy. Now, Minister Dante has already proved that it was a prophecy and that many quote unquote people in the white Bible thought it was a prophecy. I'm like, let's not come on the tail end and act like you didn't discover this all on your own. No, Israelites has been working this thing, doing the research, doing the studies, doing the historical videos and all these things. Don't come act like you didn't just found something and then you want to give away our heritage. I have a problem with that. So I'm going to put this link in here. We're going to talk about prophecies and stuff on this day because what we're dealing with here is signs of the second Exodus. It's hot and heavy. The second Exodus, it's hot and heavy. And for those who can't see that prophecy is coming to pass each and every day, and yet they still cannot tie it to our captivity. They cannot tie it to our captivity. It is a shame. Now, I put the link in there if y'all want to join this discussion, but we're going to talk about some of these things that's happening. So we had this awakening, and I told y'all, I said it can't be stopped. Remember several years ago, and we fighting over there on Berean TV, and we fussing, and they telling us we ain't the people. Now they're like, okay, well, some of y'all the people, some of y'all not. Some of y'all the people, and some of them other people the people too. See, now the argument and the discussion has changed. See, I knew it. I told them, I said, look, just sit back and watch. Just sit back and watch. You'll see we the people. Just sit back and watch. Now they admit we the people, but we're not the only people, and not all of us are the people. Welcome to Juneteenth, family. Brother Asaph, how you doing today?
I'm well. Let me just turn down my television. All right, I'm doing well. We are seeing some great stuff. You know, China's just had 143 generals talking about invading Taiwan. I posted it on your page a few minutes ago.
Brother Asaph, it's getting serious, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I even posted that a British general said that the British Army must be prepared to fight in Russia not too long from now. So it's a done deal now. I'm definitely going to use all them T-shirts and all them clothes I bought to go.
Well, I can tell you one thing. You know, it's like we said, right? All you got to do is sit back and watch. You know, it's like you try to wake up people and they don't want to listen. But let me share this right quick. Oh, Sister Chantel. My sister. How you doing? I think this is her first time on here. Hallelujah.
Second time. I could not. Oh my days! I'm so sick and tired of these people. By the way, shalom, everybody. I'm sorry. I just can't. I'm so sick and tired of these people just coming on, spitting their lies, and it's half true. Listen, you know what? He's desperate. And we were commenting about how empty his church was. I can't remember who else was saying it in the comment section, but we were both.
I said he can't even afford to buy a Happy Meal.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing in there. Nobody's in there, and they're looking dead. Like they're so desperate now, so they're trying hard to try and, because they know that they're losing people because of the truth, but they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's almost like they kind of want to tell the truth because they want to jump on the bandwagon, but they know they can't because they know it means that they're going to incur the wrath of the Ashkenazi. And they want their money they love their money. So you're going to have to pick a side. You can't straddle the fence, otherwise you're going to split yourself. So, you know, that's all I need to say. I'll say more, but that's all I need to say right now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming on. I've been wanting to get you on here.
I know, but you know, I'm shy. I said I might not sound it, but I am actually kind of shy.
Brother Steve, how's it going?
What's up, family? What's going on, man?
Bless, man. What you think about all this stuff?
You know what? I'm being real with you, and again, you know, actually, you know, I told my wife, I actually had a dream about this about 5 days ago, straight up and down. And immediately after the dream, I'm sorry, I think there's a little bit of background. You know that I had a dream about. I was in this house and I was like in the presence of the Lord was there, and I was praying with my family, and all of a sudden it was like I was prompted to say, "Lord, send your people," and literally out of the ceiling of the living room began to fall all these people slowly, like they were being guided out of like they were falling through the ceiling, like just like I don't know how to even explain it, but it was like they were like out of like it was a cloud. And I was sending them to this lady upstairs, this black lady, this Hebrew sister upstairs, to get information about us as the people. And it was our people, but it was even down to even half and even a quarter of the lineage, right? And even in the dream, I was like, wait. You sure God sent you? Right? I'm serious. In the dream, and it was like, and I was like, wait, you don't look all the way like us. Is your mother black? No, my grandmother's black. You know, but anyway, and at the end, and it was like these people were coming, and the last guy was, I believe, this brother, and he had 2 sons. And I was talking to him about, after he went upstairs and talked to the lady and came back downstairs, I was like, thank you for coming. And he showed me his phone. And he was like, this lady's been calling me for a long time, right? And what I gathered from it was that at the end of the dream, waking up, and what I believe is that there's about to be a mass awakening, right? I believe that we were, many of us in this group were like the first fruits of it, right? And of course, the answer that the enemy always gives is going to be subversion, right? You know, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Yeah. And this guy is no different, right? He, you know, both the Most High and the enemy works through people. And the answer that is always going to be a little bit of truth with a lot of confusion. And that's ultimately what I believe is what this guy's doing, as well as many others. Is that this is a feigning attempt to try and subvert this real awakening that's happening to this next wave, right? And I'm not sure to what degree it is, but I believe the work that y'all have been doing, Sister Shonda, Sister E, Benaiah, even the work is, the late, Pastor Stephen Darby, that there's about to be another wave of an awakening that's happening. And I believe that this is and a portion of the enemy's fainted attempt to try and stop it. And that's the best answer I can give. And I mean, it's crazy that you're giving this presentation, because me, my wife and I, we talked about it like 4:00 in the morning, just talking about it. I was like, why am I even, you know what I'm saying? Why am I even, having a dream like this? But now I'm with what happened this weekend, I understand why. You know what I mean?
Well, I could tell you this. At this point in time, it's sort of like coming to play a game, and it's like baseball. What is that? In the ninth inning, I think, is the last inning, right? You come in the ninth inning and want to come and hit a home run and win the game. Say, well, no, the game's already won. I notice a lot of people. If you notice, a lot of the new people that started coming, the younger crowd, in my opinion, is just my opinion. A lot of the younger Israelites are looking to merge us, right, into with the other groups of people or who claim to be Israel, and denying and ignoring all of the prophecies dealing with who the Israelites are and what they would look like and what they were suffering and go through, and they try to do these gaslighting moves where they talk about things like he did with the, yoke around your neck and stuff like that, and just take these little pieces out and say, see, that could apply to anybody. No, let's go paint the picture of Deuteronomy 28, every single curse, and see who it fit. That's how you do it, right? You don't take one thing out of context and then say, see, anybody could have had a yoke around their neck, of course. But does anybody have every single one of those curses on them as a people other than us? I'm just saying.
Nope. There was something that, in regards to what you just said, I don't know if you guys remember when the Ashkenazis were trying to invite everybody around the world. I think it was last year, because it's like an answer to our awakening. And they know that there's going to be an exodus, so they're trying to get in front of what we're doing. So they're trying to do a second exodus. And it's like you had Jews coming from Mexico, Jews coming from China, Jews coming from, or Jewish coming from this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, what is this? The United Colors of Bennington. It's like you guys are trying to incorporate.
Thank you.
Like, I get it. The rainbow, represents Israel, but not like that. It's not every color on the planet. And Israel was different shades of brown, yes, but Israel was always depicted as one specific color. And
that's
at the
why
end of the day,
Negro.
exactly. And at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but your DNA doesn't even put you in the same. You're not even in the same lane. So I don't even understand. Oh gosh.
Look, my thing is this, right? I don't need to start no fights, but let's be honest and let's admit that we are the originals. I ain't got a problem if you converted, y'all converted, your ancestors, that's cool. I ain't got a problem with that. What I'm saying is, let's be honest on who the original people are. Even according to the historical books, their books that we didn't write say we're the original ones. So I'm just saying, let's be honest. Brother Asaph, can you send me that link of that news article you were talking about?
I posted it on your page, and
it's on my wall on Facebook.
It's on your wall on Facebook with all the highlights on it. Yeah, I'll try and send it to you if you
see if you can send it right here in this private chat. Right here, there's a private chat. So I'm gonna share. Okay.
I'm on my phone at the moment.
Oh,
so
okay. All right. Okay, that's cool. All right, so I'm gonna share this because here's the thing. Like I talked about in game, and I talked about in a recent video about the counterfeit God. from what I'm seeing, this thing is over. I don't know what else to say. I'm not a prophet. I'm not prophesying. I'm just looking at signs, right? And so when we look at the signs, things just don't look good. So let's look at this.
Before you share that, I just want to say this.
Mhm.
I said to somebody, I'm going to listen to Teo Ministries live, while I drift asleep, because it's like 11:30, and I was kind of, I was just sort of like, I was calm, but then hearing that, it just put me in the whole realm of agitation. I thought, no, I can't let this slide. It woke me right up. So I
Well,
should know better.
that's how I am with it. I mean, me, I don't like lies, and
No,
I have a problem with it.
no, this can't continue. This just can't continue.
Yeah.
As a pastor, I don't understand. You read the Bible, you know what's going to happen. You know what it says about those who are supposed to be leading the flock, and you're leading them astray. And you know what? Look, the Most High says He does not like lukewarm. He's going to spit you out. So
Yep.
I don't know why you're doing this when you can
Exactly.
see what's going on. Why are you doing this?
And that's the thing. I mean, look where we're at. I'm gonna share this video, but look where we're at. This isn't the time to be manipulating and lying and gaslighting and fudging the scriptures and history and all this stuff. I'm like, look, it's really bad.
This is Dabu 7 with everything.
Minister Chair, I just shot that over to you by email.
Pay attention to what's happening to these food processing facilities. We are near 100 facilities that have gone up in flames, torched, destroyed within the past year or so. This time, this plant coming out of Wisconsin, this is a place that had 70 firefighters from multiple different departments battling this massive fire. This is Festive Foods in the eastern Portage County area. American Red Cross was on the scene also to help give out food and water to people battling this, but this is a big time situation that we have here in this country. And as we scroll down here and we take a look, there is a list that dates back to the very first fire they were tracking on 1/11/21. Guys, this is almost at 100. This would be the 98th, well, actually the 97th right there on the list as of 6/13 per this list. So we are at almost 100 places that have been burnt to the ground in terms of our food in this country. This isn't a coincidence. There's something major going on. I mean, something major. And if people just want to keep turning a cheek, it's going to catch up to them. All the people that just want to keep looking the other way with everything going on, it's going to catch up to you one way or another. They're coming down all avenues. And this is significant, very serious. Our food production is under attack in this country, among other things.
So, this is going to be blamed on the Ruskies, right? But we know what's going on. This is a new world order move. Basically, they're trying to put us in a new system. And the way I see it is that unless you become a part of the social credit system, like in Italy, they have it right now, and you're going to get your allocation of food, your meal points and things like that, and your loyalty points and things like that. This is to put you in that, right? So now they're taking it and they're removing everything you were used to. And if you want those things back, you're going to have to submit to the system. And 97 suspicious events, processing plants burning, right? One of them got hit by an airplane. I'm like, really? What do you all think about this panel?
I think those snaky UA are stocked up. That's what I think.
Stocked up?
Yep, they have stocked up. They listen to what you guys are saying and don't think for 1 second that they haven't been prepping. They've been prepping. They know what's coming. They know what's coming. I know people like that. They know what's coming. They won't tell everybody else, but they'll stock up. They will prep. They will have everything that they need to look after them and their families, but they won't tell the people who they're spewing their lies and hatred to. That's disgusting to me.
That's evil.
That is evil.
But I don't believe
these are the type of people. people that this is the kind of people, if they can say and do and carry on all the way that they've been carrying on and treating people, is it really that far-fetched that they would carry on like that?
That's true. I mean, be honest with you, you know, and I'm not the arbiter of who's saved or not, but their fruit don't look good to me. They talk about Israelites not being saved. I question a lot of them. They got some funny ways. And then when you look at G-Man, what he's been doing with his let me even stop. I ain't gonna even go there. But he's been doing some dirty stuff lately. I'm like, it's crazy. Because recently he did a video on Sister E attacking our sister. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm trying to stay out of that mess, be honest with you. But I'm like, you know, when you start attacking our people, I got issues with it. But it's
they're
crazy.
gonna get what's coming to them. So
Yeah.
I'm not even worried about that. I feel for the people that are following them who are being deceived. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you want that healthy food, you know where to you know what table to eat at. If you want to eat from the junk food, that's what you're gonna get, and you're gonna end up unhealthy. But if you want something that is spiritually good for you, then you know what to do, and you know where to go. People who want the truth will look for the truth. They're not looking for the truth. They want lies. They want to be pandered to. They want Maverick. I just finished watching that film today. Oh my gosh. That film is awesome. It's the kind of film that America wants to hear. It's okay. We can succeed by the power of Go America. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Brother Asap, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I heard that some aspersions are going to be cast on Brother Berean. I don't want to go into it altogether, but it's not looking good for the urban apologetics and the Christian ministries at the moment.
Yeah,
you know, this could spell the complete annihilation of urban apologetics, and I'm not going to do it.
So let me ask you, Brother Asap.
Yep.
That rumor that that G-Man said, that's what you talking about.
Apparently, Sister Cherry is going to be involved in it as well. So that's going to be an annihilation.
Oh goodness! I don't know what to say. It's a mess over there. It's a mess.
As we'd say in the UK, it's a dog's dinner. But you know, we don't need to fight against anybody at all, because the Most High will fight for us.
We've already won.
Well, of course, it was destined from the beginning that we would win.
Exactly.
You know, all we have to do now is just get our popcorn and just watch what's happening.
I got mine with some butter on it.
Yeah, fantastic.
I just made some daiquiri, so strawberry daiquiri. So I've got that and that. So yeah,
I'm living in the UK, so you can probably post some to me.
Yeah, I could actually. South London.
Well, I think we're gonna be seeing each other on the continent soon. What's your thoughts, Brother Steve?
I mean, I think this is a fulfillment of scripture, man. You know, when you're playing that Dabu 7, literally it came to.
You went silent. You there, Brother Steve?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Yeah.
Sorry, my mic is kind of funny. Sorry. So yeah, I said, you know, as you playing the Dabu.
You went silent again.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
All right. Sorry, I went took out my mic. All right. So, yeah, I was saying that as you were talking, that Isaiah 60 came to mind, that rise and shine, that the glory of the Lord shall come upon you, that there will be gross darkness on the earth. There'll be darkness on the earth and gross darkness to people, but His light shall shine upon you. And I think that we literally are in that proven moment.
That's it.
that literally everybody's being tested, right? And you're gonna either have enough rope to pull you to enough rope for the Most High to pull you, or it's gonna be enough rope to hang yourself with. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is, you know. So
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these different ministries and all that stuff. And I mean, personally, you know, I've had a very strong conviction just to come off of all social media altogether, except for YouTube intermittently, and just really take some time to just make sure my foundation is right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know, with everything that's happening, because, I believe that there's going to be a time, that we're going to be getting up out of here. But in the meantime, we still got to keep fighting. We still have to still, continue to stand on that wall, and continue to do what we're supposed to do. So, again, it's sad when you see, many people that you once thought had some degree of foundation just crumble under pressure. But at the same time, you appreciate the pressure because that's what diamonds are made of,
Yeah, definitely. And that's part of it too. Like you said, I mean, that's why I always say you're going to fight. If you're going to stand for the Most High, right?
Yeah,
opposition coming.
Yeah, it's going to cost you. And I mean, and personally, I've lost a lot of people that I once I thought were friends. I thought that were and I'm talking about even just within quote unquote church circles. And it is what it is, and ultimately I'm willing to pay that price, if it means that I'm doing what's pleasing to the Most High, because ultimately I'm serving and I'm witnessing to an audience of one, which is Him. So
yeah, what is that they say about truth that is in the beginning is violently opposed, and what's the second one? Then it's I forgot how it go. Somebody in the chat probably know.
Yeah.
It's violently opposed, but then it's like later on, it's like, oh well, we knew that y'all the people, we knew that already, right?
Yeah, and that's the point of it, is like, the time is coming very quickly where the sun gonna shine on all this.
Yep.
And where your feet is at is where they at, and that's what it is. So
yeah, I mean, we've been trying to warn people. Brother Cecil, welcome back. What's your thoughts? You have to unmute yourself. You there, Brother Cecil? He may have stepped away.
I think he went to go and get his popcorn too.
Yeah, he might be getting that daiquiri as well, huh?
Yep.
All right, so let me show this other article. I know a lot of you all heard about this. 3,000 cattle died, were insidious plans put into effect before Eid al-Adha. So what do you all think about this article here about these cattle dying? I know some of y'all heard about this. I mean, they're really destroying the food supply. We're at a state of war with in the world right now. Let me get your comments, Brother Yehuda. What's your thoughts on all of this? You there? Yehuda? Don P.
Yes. I wasn't sure who you were talking to. I couldn't really see it. My connection isn't that great because I'm out here in the sticks somewhere.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Hey, the Most High told me for the second time to come out of her and be separate. The first time you're talking about the church. This time he added, and do not be a partaker of her plagues. I'm gone, man. I'm gone. I'm gone.
Where you going?
Gambia.
Gambia, cool. I'm gonna tell you, I look. I wish I could leave. I really wish I could. Everything I'm seeing is rough. Not to put any fear in anybody, but you got to know the times we're living in. And I'm of the opinion, take it as you will. Take it as you will. You should seek the Most High on whether or not you should be here or not, right? If he don't give you the heart and the desire to leave, then stay. I mean, like me, I don't think I'm going anywhere till the second Exodus hits. But it's look at this. Look at these cattle, 3,000, right? And then 97 processing plants, right? Let's not talk about the water that's drying up all over America. I'm like, really? I'm like, we're in for some tough time.
It's going to get rough. It's going to get real rough. You guys might as well get prepared for the summer, because I've been listening to preppers and becoming a prepper myself. So I got my solar generator with my solar panels, my RV refrigerator. I'm about to get a gas generator today. Yeah, man. And then I'm taking all that stuff with me.
Yeah, definitely. And look, what do you all think about this? What about the people that can't afford to leave? Like for me, I can't leave. I can't afford to leave. So, you know, you do the best you can, get some extra water, get some extra food, and pray that the Most High comes very soon. Panel, any comments on that?
Yeah, can you hear me? This is Cecil.
Yeah, Cecil.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just having dinner with the family. Hey,
And one more thing, Brother Cecil, before you comment. At the end, somebody was trying to get in contact with you. So in the end, can you leave your contact information? Because when you come on, they'd be like, hey, how do I read Brother Cecil? So, you know.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, right. I will try to do that. Yeah, thank God. It's a pleasure being here. I'm so excited because, you know, I've been waiting for such a long time to see all the hard work we put out, especially you and your brother and Dante and or everybody for 7 years or more. And now it's hitting mainstream. It has hit mainstream already, but they're beginning to see that we are the people, and they're waking up, and it's a beautiful thing. But I also want to add to the conversation is God will provide all our needs as far as getting up out of here. You know, I'm doing my part. I'm sure you guys are doing your part. I was able to establish a contact from Miami all the way to Fort Pierce. So that's 2 hours. And now I'm working on getting another hour ahead or 2 hours as far as the exodus. And things are coming on pretty good. And I feel, guys, that we are on the cutting edge of this whole thing, you know, and people are looking at us and they are saying, you know, we're the people. So I just want to encourage every one of you to continue to hold the faith, because as everybody continue to wake up, those of us who have been in this for a long time, we got to be one they're looking at, and especially Theo Ministries, Dante and Sister E. We seem like we're very small now, but there's millions and millions and millions of people gonna come into this awakening, and we are at the forefront. So we have to stick together and be a cohesive unit, so we could actually continue to lead our people, you know, in this exodus, you know, to the promised land. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, thanks. And Brother Cecil, do you have any contact information you can like paste in the chat or something?
Yeah, like I guess I could do that. That's no problem. Yeah,
okay.
I'll just type it in the chat.
Okay, or email it to me, either way, or both.
Yes, yes, I can do that. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna share this other article. So we know what's going on. It's just ramping up, fam. It's just ramping up, and you know that's why when I look at the fact of Juneteenth as well, that our identity is being confirmed as well. So stock market fall has wiped out $3 trillion in retirement savings this year. So people are losing money. People are losing access to food, lack of water, right? It goes. Let's not even talk about all of the killings that's going on, mass shootings. Even in New Orleans, I'm like, shootings happening every day. Every day, somebody dying, right? And I'm sure it's probably that way in other places, right? I'm like, it doesn't stop. But there's no 400-year prophecy. I'm just saying, what would you expect to see? Let me ask you all, panel. What would you expect to see for the end times prophecy of the book of Revelation and, you know, our potential exodus happening? What would you expect to see for that, you know, for the biblical prophecies, other than what we have here? I mean, what else is missing? I just want to know, other than the Antichrist. Anybody?
War to be everywhere. I think the war to spread. I think that's the only thing that we need, because everything else has pretty much been fulfilled. And the thing is, what we didn't understand is that it's been fulfilling for a long time. I think even longer than we've been awake. We've been seeing prophecy. If you go back, you'll actually see, actually, the Most High has been dealing with them for a very long time, pretty much since their inception. Even when you look at Australia, it's like from when they got there. I mean, they tried to escape the plague, the plague of rats and everything, or mice, but they brought the plague over there. I mean, obviously they were prisoners and everything, but they brought the plague of mice with them, and every year it got worse. And I don't know if you know the history of what they did to the natives out there. And I know that some of those people are our people, especially some of them on certain islands as well. But they did some wicked things. They were putting like glass and sort of blades in flour. They would give them, so the same kind of thing that they were doing with the blankets and putting smallpox on the blankets, the Australians were doing with the flour. They would give them flour to cook with, and they would put glass or blades in there. I mean, how evil are you to do things like that? It's gosh, it's a reprobate.
Yeah. So we have more stuff going on. So NATO says it will increase its forces on Russia's doorstep, right? So now NATO is getting more aggressive. They were doing proxy war through the Ukrainian, what's the Ashkov Brigade, whatever, the Nazi group. NATO has announced it will boost forces on its eastern flank as Putin's brutal war with Ukraine enters its 5th month. Now, what does that mean? That means we're about to go to war. That's what it means, right? And as you know, this is not going to stay over there in Europe, right? Especially with NATO, because the head of NATO is the United States. Now, I want to share this video here by this guy. His name is Gonzalo Lira II. You all probably seen him before, but this is why you can understand why I don't think there's much time. Maybe things can settle. I don't know. I just don't see it. But here it is. Let's listen.
I don't make any money off of this channel. You know, it doesn't matter how many views I get. I've gotten like 5 million views so far, and I'm not making a dime off of this because it's demonetized, because I can't get it monetized for reasons that aren't really important. Basically, the SBU, when they took over my accounts, they took over like my Google AdSense accounts. And because of my current circumstances, I can't create a new one, all kinds of hassle. And so basically, this channel that you're watching, I'm doing it for free. And so anyway, I just want to say that up front, because I want you to pass around this video to as many people as possible. If you're an American, okay, this is for the American audience and to a lesser extent, the European audience, but the American audience exclusively. As a priority, rather. You see, I want you to show this to every single American that you possibly can so that they can understand what is about to happen to them, okay? And what is about to happen to them is an escalation of this war here in Eastern Europe. Now, the mainstream media, for you guys in America, you watch the mainstream media and it seems that, the Ukrainians are winning against the Russians. Yeah, it's only a matter of time, right? Although lately, if you're paying closer attention, you seem to see like, wait, things aren't going so rosy for the Ukrainians, right? But anyway, I mean, the mainstream media is saying that they're basically winning, and that's a complete lie. That is an utter and complete lie. Every day, the Russians are chewing up more of the Ukrainian armed forces. They are killing off or wounding over 1,000 men a day. A day. And this is from Ukrainian sources, okay? 1,000 Ukrainian soldiers are either killed or captured or wounded in a way that makes them not combat effective anymore. That's 30,000 men a month. It is credibly estimated at this time that there are possibly as many as 70,000 dead Ukrainians, 70. And the low end of these estimates is 45,000 killed. The total Ukrainian armed forces before this combat began on the 24th of February was 230,000. If you take the low end of the estimates, over 20% of the forces have been killed. And that's the low end of the estimates. Killed. Forget about captured and wounded. The war is going catastrophically for Ukraine. The Russians are relentlessly winning. And they are going to take over huge swaths of territory of this country. Because I'm in Ukraine right now. I'm in the city of Kharkov. I hear, rather, the shelling every day. And the shelling gets closer every day. The mainstream media is lying to you. The Russians are winning definitively. And because they are winning so definitively, and they have no intention of stopping, I mean, why would they? They're winning. Well, the Biden administration finds itself that they have put all of their chips on Ukraine, and Ukraine is definitively losing. It's quite frankly a miracle that the Ukrainian armed forces is still standing after the annihilation it has received. It is inconceivably horrible what has happened to these young men. And every single one of them is a brave man with a family, and they've died pretty much for nothing except the desires of the Biden administration. And now the Biden administration finds itself with a catastrophic loss, and so they are going to escalate. And the way it seems that they are going to escalate is by creating a situation, an incident in Lithuania. Lithuania, one of the Baltic republics, one of the members of NATO. Well, the Baltic Republic of Lithuania has cut off access of Russian railway to Kaliningrad. Now, for those of you who don't know, basically, here's Russia, here is Lithuania, and over here is a little piece called Kaliningrad that's on the Baltic Sea. That this was captured in the Second World War, but it's detached from the mainland of Russia. Lithuania is between them. And Lithuania has had an agreement, a long-standing agreement of over 30 years, that they would never impede any train between Russia and Kaliningrad. That they would basically consider that train like a corridor that could go back and forth between Kaliningrad and Russia. And now they've cut it. And now they are making moves in terms of moving troops. Now, Lithuania has a microscopic army, but the Polish army is also on the move. The Polish army has been making moves on the Belarusian border. All of this leads me to conclude realistically that at this time, there is the intention by NATO to provoke the Russians into defending Kaliningrad. Now, Kaliningrad, it's one of those areas that's armed to the teeth, okay? The Russians have all kinds of weapons there. The actual territory of Kaliningrad, right? They're not really worried about it. That's not the issue. The issue is Russian territory is going to be attacked by the Lithuanians and the Poles. And what are the Russians supposed to do? Just, sit there and take it? Of course not. They're going to hit back, and they're going to hit hard. They're going to hit harder, much harder than they've hit Ukraine. Why? Because the Russians consider the Ukrainians a brother people. Lithuanians, they're just foreigners. They don't care about the Lithuanians. And the Poles, same thing. I mean, the Russians and the Poles have hated each other for going on 400 years, okay? And so now it seems clear that Lithuania and Poland are setting up the conditions to provoke Russia into attacking one or the other or both. And this will draw in all the other NATO states, including the United States. Now, it doesn't take a genius to realize that the brains behind this idiotic idea are American brains, the Biden administration. There are crazies in the State Department and in the US Senate and in the Biden administration itself They all want war with Russia. And they're sick and tired of pussyfooting around using the proxy of Ukraine to fight against the Russians. And so they want to have American troops fighting directly against Russians. This will be a catastrophe, and I will explain to you why. Because you see, the Ukrainian armed forces were NATO trained. NATO trained approximately 10 to 12,000 Ukrainian troops every year for the past 8 years. That is approximately 80 to 100,000 Ukrainian soldiers were trained to NATO standards. NATO standards in terms of tactics, maneuvers, communication, control, everything. The Ukrainian armed force was the largest, best equipped, and best trained NATO army that has ever been fielded. Man for man, it was better than the American armed forces, and that's the truth. They're certainly better motivated because, after all, the Ukrainian soldiers, well, they're defending their own land from the Russian invaders. So they're better trained, better equipped, and more motivated. And they have been annihilated. What do you think will happen to Lithuanian troops, Polish troops, or American troops that go up against the Russians? They're going to be annihilated too, especially because the Russian troops at this time, what they have been doing is that they have been rotating all of their troops constantly. They've only put in, at any one given time, about 190,000 troops. At this time, it's estimated that they only have 130,000 troops, but their entire army of over 1 million men has been rotated through Ukraine. They all have combat experience, hardcore combat experience. They're going to annihilate the Americans. And this is where the danger comes in. I don't care how much you love the American flag. I don't care how much you say that America #1 and best equipped army and all that bullshit. The fact is they're going to be annihilated by the Russians like that. And after, the Biden administration, out of panic and out of a cavalier attitude that it's no big deal, they are going to use nuclear weapons. They are going to do that. The United States has never taken off the first strike option from its menu of options insofar as the military conflict is concerned. The Russians have. The Russians have stated definitively that they will never use nuclear weapons on a first strike basis. Never. Only in response to a nuclear attack. But the Americans have never made that promise. And the Biden administration, it doesn't know how to take a step back. It doesn't know how to wind it down. It only knows how to double down.
All right, so panel, what do you all think of this? So according to him, the U.S. and NATO are trying to lure Russia in by using Poland and I think it was Latvia. To me, if you add this together with all of the other things that's happening, I mean, I personally believe, and I've been saying it from day one, that I believe it's all scripted, but it's scripted at the highest level, right? The probably some of the low-level generals and on down to some of the lower-level military guys have no idea what's going on. And I think all of this is part of re-engineering the reset. What's your thoughts on this, panel?
There will be no coming back from this situation like how they've had in previous wars, because this is the last one. You know, we can see from 2nd Esdras 15:11, the plagues of Egypt coming again. We can see the heat and everything in Revelation 16:19. We can see everything happening. So, you know, I don't see them coming back from this one, especially if those type of weapons are going to be used, because the rhetoric is being ramped up over here in the United Kingdom as well. A letter was sent to every single soldier this week telling them that they must prepare themselves to fight against Russia. And by the new general in command of the British Army. So I don't see this this going back and things going back to how they were, we're in deep trouble. If well, they are in deep trouble because we're getting out of here now.
So, panel, thank you, Brother Asa. So, panel, how can people who claim to be followers of Christ, who claim to be Christians, cannot see what's happening, and that this is prophetic, and that the 400-year prophecy, is true?
Because they don't love the truth, so the Most High has given them over to lies. That's all they can see. It's they can't see truth. They can't understand truth. You can tell them till you're blue in the face. They won't get it. And at this point, I think those who are awake, I don't think there's anybody else that's going to be waking up. I think those who are awake, they're awake. Those who are still sleeping, they're going to be in shock. And it's so funny because I see people, family members, friends, and people who are so completely blasé. They're going on about their we need, it's good that we're getting back to normal. I'm thinking, are you crazy? Do you even know what's going on? And that's over here. I'm hearing people talking about things getting back to normal. And people are going and getting their houses refurbished, taking out loans. And I'm like, you lot are crazy. You're tapped in the head. It's the most bizarre thing. It's like they don't even see that the world is crumbling around them. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with the madness.
Well, that's how I am. I'm like, I'm like, are y'all dense?
Yes.
No,
we're not going to mince our words. Yes,
yeah,
they are. Look, the Holy Spirit has left them. When I woke up, the Most High sent me back to church. He sent me back to church because I said to him, where do you want me to go? And he sent me right back to church. I was like, okay. So I went there. He sent me there so that I could see that he is not there. I walked into church and I said to my mom, the Holy Spirit isn't here. He's not here. I could feel that his presence was not there. I felt his presence when I was at home, when I would watch you guys, when I'm in prayer, but I didn't feel it coming off of these people. They were dead. And he left the church, but now he's leaving. Man, look, Christ himself, or Hamashiach himself, turned around and said that he said, as it was in the days of Noah, so also shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. And the Most High himself said that my spirit will not always strive with man. So if we know that's what happened then, we are seeing the fulfillment of that right now. People they don't have the Holy Spirit. And when you don't have the Holy Spirit, your faith and your hope and your trust is in man. And if that being the case, then you also deny the Most High. And if you deny the Most High, as he said, what's it? Oh my gosh, I've forgotten. The beginning of wisdom. You know what I'm talking about. Something about. Oh my goodness, it's just fled from me.
The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom.
That's it. Yes, thank you. See, I'm losing my wisdom. I've been around people too long, but they've lost their wisdom because there's no wisdom to be found in them. And a lot of our people who still are in denial about what is going on and who they are, they don't want to know. It's like they have that Edomite spirit in them. And if you have that Edomite spirit in you and you're hell-bent on, I'm going to build up my house, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. As the Most High said to Esau, he said that they will build up, but I'm going to throw down. And that means you along with it. If he said, come out of her, if you're not coming out, and if you're still attached and tied, all of this is going to happen to you. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm removing myself away from people because I don't want that lightning to catch me. That's all I'm saying. They can't see it. I'm sorry. I love you, but I love myself and my family.
Yeah,
and the
definitely.
Most High. Sorry, and the Most High first.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I'm not. No, sorry.
So, Brother Don P, what's your thoughts on this stuff?
Oh, it's all bad. It's all bad, and it's like I've been on my family and trying to come at them more in love, because at first it was just enthusiasm, and you would think that everybody would be happy. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not, and they're doing the same things that the other brothers were saying, and what the sister was saying. They're talking about buying their houses and what they gonna do. Life is my sister said to me as she was sticking some abomination in her mouth. Unless we get raptured, I'm like, oh my goodness, she is far gone. I mean, the sauce is just swimming around in her brain. I'm like, Most High. See, all my whole thing is this. I just ask the Most High all the time when I didn't have any work going on. Father, give me something to do. Give me anything that'll make money, and I'll do it. So he provided a way, and then he's, being faithful in that, he provided more. So I said, Father, if it's time for me to go, tell me and make a way. I can't get there without no money. So unfortunately, my mother passed away a couple months ago. And my mother, being a good mother, made provisions and left something for her children. So that's going to help, man, because I'm worried about, do you know that Satan, too, can take out an area the size of Texas?
Yeah, I heard. I hope they don't hit none of these states that we're in. I mean, by the Most High grace.
Here's the problem, though. People forget over the last 18 months, there were 2 independent sightings of Russian nuclear subs off the East Coast. Then there was one off the West Coast. The problem is they didn't identify them until they visually saw them. Our systems are antiquated. They can jam them. And we'll just, man, the United States will be an ass-kicking contest with one leg tied behind their back. Because they hit the East Coast and West Coast, what do you got left? Not much.
Well, the scriptures say that the people of the men of Babylon gonna run like women, and I can see that. I can see that happening.
We know they're cowards.
Yep,
exactly. We know they're cowards. They won't approach more than one of us.
Yep.
Well, it's a colorful time. It's a colorful time, so of course they're gonna run like women. They act like women now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
So I'm gonna share this other article. This is the one that Brother Asaph gave me about China. It's just worse. It's getting worse and worse. Like I said, not to fear, but to understand. Leaked recording emerges showing Chinese generals in invasion plan meeting to prepare 140,000 troops for Taiwan war. I think I showed this on one of my other videos. Part of this recording from JWTV. A leaked recording from a Chinese invasion plan meeting shows officials vowing they won't hesitate to start a war and crush Taiwan, it is claimed. Yeah, so I showed a piece of this video in one of my videos. And understand this, that a lot of people who, as we were saying, no matter how much information you share, and they can or they won't believe it. And the reason being, I think, is because of this. Luke 21:34, it says, and take heed to yourself, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting. And most of them probably not doing that, drinking and drinking, drunkenness. But more this, cares of this life. Like you all were saying, buying houses, buying new cars, planning on going on vacation. And so that they come upon you unaware. So a lot of them are unaware because of the cares of this life. They're not worrying about the things of the Most High, so they can't see. And I know talking to a lot of people, they can't handle the negativity of all of this, right? Because I think some people get stressed when they hear, prophecy. Because I mean, prophecy is God gonna judge for the most part, right? God coming to get revenge on the nations for what they've done to His people, and that's negative to those who are going to be in that area. So with my understanding of scripture and what I see happening with the increase of these wars and rumors of wars, I don't see how. I mean, just look at the totality of everything. I just don't see how it can go too much longer, right? That's why I say, maybe, and I ain't setting no dates, just a guess. I think max 3 years. I don't even think we have that, but I say max 3 years. Any final comments on this? And I'm going to show something else after this, and then we'll take it down.
China's been itching. They just been itching. That's going to happen. They've been itching to get Taiwan. And see, while everybody's preoccupied with this, and it may happen, at the same time with the Lithuania-Poland situation, may happen at that same time. But for sure, China ain't letting that go. They're going after it. So, y'all got to get ready.
I agree. And, when it comes to this particular war, it's gonna happen. The Bible says it's gonna happen in 1 hour, right? It's gonna be so quick, so devastating, so fast. No, they're not gonna have any way to escape for the most part. That's why, I can't weigh everything in the scriptures because, like I said, there's what the Bible says about flee, but then we also know there's a second Exodus. Some kind of way those two come together, I don't know. But I would think we'd have to be out of here before the nukes start dropping, because otherwise the angel's going to have to come and just protect us. I mean, either that or, you can think about the rest, right? So I'm going to share this information here now. If you have kids, send them away not to watch this. It's not really too bad, but some of you all may be a little sensitive, right? So this is a particular theory, right? My brother and I was talking about it. We talked about it on Facebook. Some of you all probably saw it, right? Because as we know, the Gentiles have been lying to us, right? They've been lying to us for over 400 years, right? And manipulating scriptures, reinterpreting things, using certain words in the Bible that they probably shouldn't have used in those contexts. So we got to go to the root word, those type of things. So this is just a theory. And I want to go ahead and read. I want to read Genesis 19. It says, and there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold, now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. Now, many of us think this occurred on the continent or over there in what we call the Middle East. It may not have, and I'm going to show you why. And Lot went out of the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have two daughters, which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you. and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, stand back, and they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they were wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides, son-in-law, and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the man laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, O not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither, and my soul shall live. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The city was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone, right, and fire. Brimstone and fire, the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. And his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. She became a pillar of salt. So here we have a scenario where Sodom and Gomorrah was being judged, right? The angels told them to flee, right? And so some of the brothers-in-laws looked like they didn't leave, right? Looked like we're just Lot and his daughters, and his wife. But his wife, when she looked back, right, she turned into a pillar of salt, right? And so then it says, and Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord, and he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. All right. So why am I talking about this? Now, you got to put your thinking hat on, right? So one thing we know is that Lot's wife turned into, let me refresh that. It's lagging. Hold on. Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt. Now, here's the thing. Over in the Middle East, they tell us that that is the location by the Dead Sea where all of this occurred. Now, before we get, I show you what I'm talking about here. Throughout history, right, who did we know as having a society of and I don't want to get blocked. What's a better word so I don't get blocked?
Fruit Loops.
Yeah, Fruit Loops. You know, yeah. So what countries and nations have a history of that? We don't see that really on the continent of Africa, right? I mean, even today, we don't really see that. Historically, we didn't really see that. Now, when we look at the scriptures, right, they don't necessarily give you very much, descriptions of the geography or the location of these cities and things like that. So you can say it's anywhere. So according to the historians and the people who are over there in quote unquote the Middle East, they say that this occurred over there by the Dead Sea. And so what they do is they show you some rocks, right? That is, some salt rocks, and say, hey, this is the area where Sodom and Gomorrah was. And we all believe that for the longest, right? But you don't see no other evidence over there. You don't see any buildings, no construction, no nothing. So like in Ethiopia, you have the Danakil area, which is a desert, which has a lot of salt, right? So you could end up saying that was Sodom and Gomorrah because it has salt. But there's no other identifying attributes, okay? So I'm going to share this with you right quick because here's what we're thinking, my brother and I, like, eat the meat, spit out the bones. You ain't got to agree with us. You don't have to agree with us, but it's curious where we find something that describes what we just read in Genesis being over in Europe. Okay. So there you go. Are you saying that Abraham and Lot was over there in Europe? Maybe, I don't know. It's theoretical, right? It's theoretical. So here's remains of 2 killed in Vesuvius eruption are discovered at Pompeii. Archaeologists tentatively identified the pair as a wealthy landowner and a younger enslaved person, both of whom were killed in the 79 AD eruption. Now, they say it occurred in 79 AD. I don't know, right? I'm asking questions because there's nowhere else on the planet where we see people who are turned to salt, right? Or stone, because what happened was Mount Vesuvius exploded and rained down what? Brimstone and fire. Now, they tell us this happened in 79 AD. How do we know that, right? I mean, they lie about everything. Plaster casts of 2 victims that were unearthed in an excavation outside ancient Pompeii. Rome, excavation at a suburban villa outside ancient Pompeii this month have recovered the remains of 2 original dwellers frozen in time by an eruption of Mount Vesuvius one fateful morning early 2,000 years ago. All right, so Mount Vesuvius, we have this here, right? So let me go to the other page. It just makes you wonder because you're going to see some things that it makes you say, okay, well, this, I don't know, something here. All right, so here we see Pompeii and Herculaneum, pros and cons, how to visit. Now, like I say, it's all theoretical, conspiracy theory type stuff. So this is Pompeii. Now, some of y'all are going to say, well, that is Roman architecture. Yes, it is, right? Or Greek architecture. Now, I don't know how old Greek architecture is. I don't know how long it's been there, when it was created, stuff like that. But here's the thing. The Bible says that the whole city, right, was covered in ash. And the people were destroyed in the whole land. These are people who turned to ash like Lot's wife. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because my niece, she just got back from here. And so I'm going to show you a picture. Now, this is for the little kids. If you got little kids watching, to me, it is not really a bad picture, but, some people be sensitive about these things. But this is what was going on in Pompeii, right? So in Pompeii, this is a picture my niece brought back right here. Okay, you see what they're doing, right? Fuddy-duddy stuff, right? So not only were people destroyed and they were turned to ash, right? Not only were they destroyed and turned to ash, they were floods, right? And so what it looks like, and I didn't bring all the pictures with me, right? I could have brought all the pictures, but the pictures that my niece brought, it looks like a bathhouse. It looked like a gay bathhouse, right? So we see in, let me, okay. Now this is really for the kids. I'm gonna go back to the other page that shows you some more pictures. See, y'all can see that right there, right? Y'all see that. So you got, some stuff going on there and what looks like a gay bathhouse. And, people who were turned to stone as Lot's wife. I'm just saying it's just theoretical, and I'm not saying yay or nay. And I just thought it was something interesting to share because, we only see through a glass darkly. We know that they lie, they twist, history, they twist the truth. So, don't come tell me about the current historical idea of these things. I'm saying maybe they're lying. What do you think, panel? And also give your final comments.
Well, I think you already know I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't trust anything that these people say. I believe, personally, I believe that all of Africa was Israel's land. I believe that includes Egypt. They were never meant to be there in the first place because Ham went in there and he wasn't supposed to go there. I actually started to question what if Europe was where Ham was supposed to be, but then he went into Africa, and Japheth is where Asia is, or Japheth was supposed to remain where Asia is and the other islands. And we already know that they turned the maps upside down. So to be honest with you, I wouldn't really put anything past them. Could I believe this? Yes, I could.
See, the
But
thing that
that's
gets
me.
me is historically, we have not found anything that fits or remotely fits the description in Genesis 19. But yet we find this in Pompeii that fits it, not only with people being turned into salt, but also we find that, they were doing, the stuff that was mentioned in Genesis 19. So I'm like, I don't know what to say. I mean, what we can assume, and then, because we don't know, we can assume, okay, they were doing the same thing that was happening in Sodom and Gomorrah, and God destroyed them in the exact same way. We can assume that. But at the same time, we don't see that nowhere else. I mean, look at what's happening in America. Look what's happening in other cities and nations and states. Look what's happening in Israel today. They're not smoking ashes.
Well,
You know
I
what I'm
was
saying?
going to say that we know that this kind of behavior was seen mainly with the Greeks and the Romans and also the Canaanites. And one of the things that we do know, that the Greeks, the Romans, and the Canaanites, as well as the Edomites, are a mixture, as well as Japheth as well. Well, that is Japheth, but they all seem to be a mixture of everything today. So would it really surprise us to see the same kind of behavior by these same people who are a mixture of all of that? So
So let me ask you, shouldn't we see then, let's assume the Dead Sea, like they say, is the location of Sodom and Gomorrah. Shouldn't we see these same type of structures and these bodies that are, encased in salt or stone or whatever you want to call it? I mean, shouldn't we see these exact descriptions somewhere else? But we don't, right? I'm just saying it would be logical, assuming you believe the scriptures, right? And I would think those things would still be there, just like Pompeii. Pompeii's still there. It's been what? How long? Almost 2,000 years, right? So it just makes me wonder. So let's get final comments. Let's start with you, Brother Steve. Any final comments?
I think, even to your point, discussing about Pompeii and, and the utter just destruction of what true history is, given the system that we live in, understanding that we live in a system and a nation of madness. Babylon itself, the word Babylon means confusion. And we live in the daughter of confusion. That's confusion on every facet of our society that you could think of: spiritual, intellectual, historical, nutrition, you name it. This is the system that we live in. And when you pull up the articles about what's happening, the guy talking about Ukraine and Lithuania and all that, the scripture makes it clear that even from Jeremiah 50 that or 51 is saying that I laid a snare, a trap, and you were unaware. And even going back to that scripture in Luke about the cares of this world, that literally even for those who are supposed to be called by his name, that that you've got this Laodicean mindset, and you would much rather stay in that lull of sleep than be actually woken to what the truth is. And for us, I think all of us have become frustrated and trying to warn those that we love, and I've kind of I'm not gonna say wash my hands, but I've done the best I can. But at the same time, I'm still gonna continue to pray and prepare, but also make sure that that I'm continuing to serve the Most High, continue to share the gospel, and to be a messenger for Him as best as possible. And again, I appreciate y'all's ministry.
Thanks for coming on, Brother Steve. Brother Don P, any final comments?
Yeah, wow. I thank the Most High that He has given us a roadmap. He's given us the signs for the times to kind of have an understanding of what's going on, so that we can prepare for whatever it is that He has for us specifically. Like you said, some are going to be in the first leaving, and then there are going to be those that are going to be in the second. And if it weren't truth, He wouldn't have put it in His word. So the salting was a little deep. But I just, found your ministry, and you just know the Spirit testifies when you're in the right place. And so I thank the Most High for you and the whole ministry. And just, brother, just keep being faithful. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Brother Don P. All right, Brother Asaph, any final comment?
Our people have been badly deceived, and we must prepare for the end times. They're still believing that 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 17 speaks about the rapture. And Yah has judged Pompeii. He's also judged Sodom and Gomorrah. And as Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9 says, there's nothing new under the sun. What He's going to do is above our pay grade. And all we need to do is just stand by and let Him just do His will and deliver us when the time comes.
Thank you, Brother Asaph. Sister Chantel, any final comments?
Yeah, this has been such a ride. Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me on. I'm not going to sleep now. I'm wide awake.
I hope you don't have to work tomorrow.
No, I don't, but I do have to get the children off to school.
Okay.
It's 12:38 now. But yeah, this has been interesting. It's been this whole awakening has been interesting, and it's a blessing to be awake. And sometimes I think to myself, why me? Why any of us? But the Most High chooses who He chooses, and it's mainly because we did what our father did, what our father Abraham did. We questioned. We wanted to look. We didn't want to accept the narrative of the day. It was like, no, there's got to be more than this. Things don't make sense. So he's rewarded us with the truth. He said, knock and the door shall open unto you. Seek and you shall find. So we've been looking, we've been knocking, and he's opened the door, and it's a blessing. But now we need to really buckle down and just keep the faith and trust in him. And really and truly, it's a matter of just making sure that we just enjoy the show. Just enjoy the show, because it's like, you know, Brother Karras keeps saying we were meant to be here to see this. We need to be a witness, because we haven't seen, there's not been any miracles like this for about at least 2,000 years. So we have to be the oracles of this, because it's got to be written down for future generations. So we have to be here to witness this. We can't just be spirited away at this point and nobody is around to, you know, to write this down. We can't trust them to do it, because I mean, look at what they've written so far. Look at how far they've gone to hide everything, you know. So it's just a blessing, and it was a blessing to be on here as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Chantel, for coming on. Been trying to get you on, and I'm glad you made it.
So am I, actually. So am I. But thank you.
All right. So, fam, you know, eat the meat, spit out the bones. You know, we live in interesting times, and we have to really question everything we're taught, everything they tell us, you know, the dates of Pompeii and all that stuff. I mean, it's open for debate, I'm thinking. Maybe the context is that, you know, maybe some of those Roman empires were built on top of Pompeii. I mean, on top of Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't know. Maybe it's just Pompeii. Who knows? Maybe it's not Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't know. But it sure fits the description of what we see in Genesis 19. And I've not seen any other place that fits a description like that. So, family, thank y'all for listening. And please share this video. And I want to also thank our patrons for supporting us and Cash App givers. And also, family, please pray for this ministry. And pray for the awakening of the rest of Israel, and that they will not be deceived and misled. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of the Messiah.